Oh, Emma, I'm delighted to be having, I think it's the fifth chat with you and Steve Evans here.
Hi guys, I can't believe it's the fifth chat to be honest, and thank you very much for inviting me back to have a chat. And um, it's just the insanity of how quickly the books seem to be coming thick and fast these days. From the night, well, I say nightmare that was Pink Club, it was a roller coaster. My first, experience as a writer, and then I think once you get your method and you have the people in place to help you get it from A to B, it just becomes a lot quicker and things. But no, I'm great to be here talking with you about the new book, which is actually a collaboration, and it's my first ever collaborated project. Yeah, with my teeth back in.
Right, we'll come on to that in just a second. Yeah, and I was surprised it was a fifth chat because I only thought it was 3 or 4, but Terry's got the record, so it must be right. Anyway, I was going to ask you how life is in Spain. It's nice and sunny, obviously, because you're well tanned. But I believe you've got a new kitchen as well. Am I right?
Yeah, there's a lot of like new fixtures and fittings that are being sorted, and just things being moved around really just to open it up more. So because yeah, the way it was just impossible. You know, when you're all on top of each other, and we're a family of 8, so my poor mum, she had like this tiny section of just kitchen counter, and so yeah, we finally got it sorted. So yay! But no, the kitchen is now in the lounge, so it's like a building site.
Right. Okay. So how's the new house compared to the other one? Because this one is a bit smaller, isn't it? I assume. So
Well,
you
the house,
adapting?
yeah, the house is. I think actually the house is. It's really hard to sort of gauge whether it's bigger or not, but it's in a much safer outdoor area. It's all walled, so the children can't get out, onto a main road, and it's quieter. You'd think because we were more in a sort of an industrialized area, it would be more noisy. But actually, and even like local Spanish that have come to the house, they've said, "Wow, it is really quiet here." And I said, "Yeah, it's lovely. it's nice. It's good for writing. Yeah, just to sit and have the peace and quiet."
How are you getting on with your neighbours? Because when you moved in, they were a bit noisy, weren't they, over the football? But I
Oh,
think
that
it
was
was all
so
good.
funny.
All good,
That
thanks.
was so funny. I just knew we'd lost the match, and I thought I'm going to go upstairs. I can't bear to watch them lose. And then it was very, very quiet, and I thought there's no noise outside, and I can't hear Matt sort of making any exclamations downstairs. And then all of a sudden there was this "Wah!" over the road. I was like, "Yeah, Spain have won." And there was the delay on the TV, and Matt was like, "Ah, oh, effing this, effing that." I was like, "Yeah, honey, they lost again."
We go on to talking about your books. Nice little item Matt found in your washing machine the other day.
I don't know how I kept a straight face. And then yeah, it was just like what is this? Like where does this go? Like, I think I've broken it. Like your parents are going to kill me. And I was like, and then I did let him out of his misery. I was like, sweetie, that's underwire. That's from my bra. Like yeah, it's not part of the machine. Oh my god.
He thought it was part of the washing machine.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I spotted it straight away. I definitely spotted it straight away. I knew exactly
Well,
what it was.
when you know, you know. And I just thought, I can't let this go on any longer. I've got to put him out of his misery. I was like, sweetie, it's part of my bra. It's underwire.
I just thought it was the handle off a tin of paint or something.
Well, you could mistaken it, I suppose. Yeah.
Oh.
It does look very medieval, doesn't it? Underwire. It's literally metal wire. So when you see it, you're like, wow, women wear those things. It's like, yes, yeah. Like Maid Marian in Robin Hood Men in Tights, she's got a metallic chastity belt on.
Emma, we're going to focus on your writing throughout this. But before we get there, remind us about your hobbies, what you do for fun outside of being a mum and a prolific author.
I like to read books as well as write them. And I'm very much into learning about psychology and things. So I study in my spare time. I study a lot about, human psychology and personality traits and stuff, and counseling. I'm very passionate about counseling. And then also for my hobbies, I like to swim because we've got the swimming pool here, so that's pure luxury. And things like meditation, just taking 10 minutes out of my day just to switch off, and I find that mental health is a big topic at the moment everywhere. You can see it and hear people talk about it. And I've really been fascinated in the subject since my early 20s. And I've seen the benefits of meditation and stuff. So I kind of advocate for that now. And I like to do some sketching. And I've just recently got into painting by numbers.
Oh.
So you have a picture and a set of paints, and then you blend the colors and stuff. I've never done it before, and I've just finished a dolphin picture now. And my son's birthday's coming up, and it came out pretty good actually. So I think I'm going to frame it and give it to him for his birthday.
It's relaxing, isn't it?
On August 31st. Yeah, it's nice. It's just helps you get out of your own head when you're really busy and when life's really stressful. So yeah, between reading and painting and sketching, I like the quieter, more peaceful hobbies, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Okay, last time we chatted about your release, Race for the Ruby Sunrise, the Mystical Seven, Book 1, and we've chatted about Pen Club, which you've wrote all these in a very, very short period. Now, considering you have to look after young children, you got a full family there, how have you just been and found the time to be such a prolific writer?
Well, I think because Matt works from home, but it wasn't always the case. He was working from home. So before we moved to Spain, he was actually working for a freight company. So he was out of the house for long hours. So I used to write at like 10 p.m. till like 3 a.m. I'd be writing because it'd be my free time. So that's how passionate and driven I was to like get this book finished, get Pink Club finished. So then now that Matt works from home and he develops websites, he does software and builds apps and does all this technological stuff. He's a bit like Neo out of the Matrix, like he can read and write code, that's hieroglyphics to me. And so because he's at home, we kind of switch it around. So during the daytime, I can potter about and grab an hour here or there for writing. And then we kind of, work as a team with the children, especially because it's the summer holidays now. And then having mum and dad at home, it's always an extra pair of eyes and things. So I have that peace of mind when I'm writing. If the children are downstairs, especially George, because he's only 4, and I know that Matt and my parents are there, it's like I have my ears open all the time, but I can focus better with my writing. So I'm really lucky. I don't know how single parents write books. I really don't. When they're on their own and struggling to make ends meet and they don't have any help at all, I take my hat off to them because I think it's not easy. It's a very big challenge to write a book, or it can be. I think for some people it's just very quick and easy. Maybe if they're a teacher themselves, or maybe if they're an English teacher especially or something, they've already got a lot of things that they would need to acquire to put into a book. But when you are a creative like myself and you have the story in your head and you're articulating it through the written word, but maybe you need a little help with editing or grammatical things, which is why I have a proofreader. That's where you can get a bit stuck, because as you guys know, I've had bad experiences with editors in the past. So now I just trust my proofreading lady to check my manuscript, because she's amazing. She's absolutely incredible, and I never let any manuscript go anywhere until she's like read it. And even she'll say like, I'm just going to rescan it just to triple check I haven't missed anything. And so I'm really lucky with the team I've got at the moment. So my proofreader, who's Agent M, and I've got my book cover designer, Mary-Louise O'Neill, who's just phenomenal with book design. If anyone is wanting a book cover for their book,
great. The covers look brilliant.
Specific thing in your head, like do seek her out because she's just incredible. And I've got Renee, who lives in Florida, who bless her, she did save the day, like a knight on a horse with Pink Club, and I had a bit of a ding dong with an editor that I was in the process of actually firing, and so she kind of scooped me up and told me that everything was going to be fine, and she reformatted the books, and so they're like my fairy godmothers. It really does take a village. It does. I mean, I went into this totally green writing, and I think we have that. Well, we can believe, like, it can happen for J.K. Rowling, it can happen for anyone, and it's just not the way that things happen. There's there's a lot of things that you learn along the way. But yeah, it has definitely been a journey. I mean, there's probably a book about this whole journey I could write in the future, as a kind of maybe guide to other writers. You know, it's something I've been thinking about in the background.
That's definitely worth writing that.
Bringing forward some things that I learned that maybe I could have benefited from if I'd known them sooner before going in.
Okay. You mentioned you got a great team around you now, but for writing the Pink Club series, you're on your own, really. You wrote them all by yourself. But for the latest writing, you're now collaborating with Morticia Gayle. How did that come about? Did you get fed up of writing by yourself? Do you think I need a writing partner? How was it?
Well, I was actually working on the third Pink Club book, Pink Passions.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, you know, of that world. And then an idea just came in from the sidelines of this vampire story. And I thought, oh, okay, what's this? And so I gave it like 5 minutes of my attention. And I thought I'd write a few notes down and I'd go back to it later. So I carried on with Pink Club. And then I went on and I wrote the last Pink Club story. But this idea would not leave me. So I was chatting to Morticia about it, and she reads buckets of paranormal fiction. Like, she reads something like, I think it's like 24, 26 books a month.
What?
In this genre. So
is she writer herself, Emma? Does she write books about this genre?
No.
Huh?
No, this is her first book as well. So we were talking about it, and we kind of came to the conclusion that it would be a really good idea to do this project together. And I was just relieved, actually, because I thought, oh my God, it'd be amazing to have her on board, because what she doesn't know about paranormal fiction is not worth knowing about. And we would talk for like hours on where we're going to take this story. So like 1 hour, 2 hours at a time. And we just worked really well together. Like, we thrashed out ideas and bounced ideas around, and we never really clashed on anything with it. It's just so enjoyable working on this. And then I believe she came up with the idea for 7 books, and how it's to do with these daggers. So the number 7, it relates to these daggers, and the reason as to why there has to be 7 daggers. And each book features the adventure on how the characters obtain these daggers to bring that story to its conclusion. But it went from this little tiny idea I had that I kind of was, you know, not really paying much attention to it, but it wouldn't leave me alone, to then like 7 books. And it's the biggest manuscript I've ever written. And I've got a copy of Dreams in Pink. This is the 2nd book in the Pink Club series, which has been reformatted and resized. So it's more like handbag size. So it's perfect for travelers if you're going on a journey, you know, and it's not very thick at all. So you could probably digest that quite easily on a long plane flight or a train ride, or even on a holiday on the beach. And then you've got Race for the Ruby Sunrise.
Wow. That was a thick copy. It's a Bible, that, isn't it, by itself?
It's quite. And I think it shows how collaboration can really, you know, there's a lot more story in that compared to Dreams in Pink, which I think again reflects, you know, 2 brains being better than 1. You've got double the creativity in there. So it's quite a weighty tome, but also what's lovely is I kind of know the word count I'm working towards now for all the other 7 books to make them that chunky, but they will probably all be chunky books, because there's a lot of content in the story. It blew my mind, the journey that this book took us on. It just absolutely blew, I think, both our minds. And when Morticia read it, because she thrashed ideas around with me, but she said, I'm not reading it, Emma, till it's finished. Okay, because I was the sole writer. And so I thought, okay, I did the first rough draft, and I said to her, do you want to read that? She said, no, go through it thoroughly and, you know, fluff it up, whatever. And then she said, hand it to me so I can read it from the perspective of a reader. So I was like, okay. So I was really nervous, because I was like, I've done a good job, like, oh my God. And she just fell in love with it, you know, straight away. And she was like, she's very proud of this project as well. But no, I couldn't have done it without her. You know, it's thanks to her, with her, you know, years of reading paranormal fiction. And I mean, 24 to 26 books in a month. I'm like, what?
That's huge. Yeah, yeah, that's
No,
a lot.
yeah, I feel really lucky that I had someone like Morticia to work with. But on the flip side of that, because this is my first collaborative project that's completed, I'm also working on another collaboration with author Tasha Brown, who you guys, I believe, have interviewed
Yeah, I was going to ask you
couple
about
of times
Tasha.
as well.
Yeah.
And she's amazing. She's doing the writing for our book project. So we talk for hours at a time, a bit like me and Morticia. And we've actually worked on this project, I believe, for over a year already, because our lives have been really hectic and things going on in the background, but we're still carrying this story narrative forward. And it's a really, really lovely story. And she gives me snippets of things that she's written, and I just fall in love with it. Like the whole world just forms in my mind. And that's what I love about books. I love being able to really fall into a story and just forget the world, you know, for 5 minutes, half an hour, and just have that breathing space. I think the world today is a very, very chaotic place. And if you love to read books, you know, that's a happy place for a lot of people. And that's, you know, my main objective is I want to bring that to the world of literature. I want to give that escapism for the reader. And I kind of write with the intention of what would I expect from a book, you know, the quality of the writing and the story. And I do try my damnedest to kind of put that into stories that I'm writing for others. And I've had some really incredible feedback as well. I mean, people said to me, with Pink Club, they were up, you know, they had the intention of reading just a couple of hours at night time, and they just binged the whole book, you know, until 3 in the morning. I've heard that several times over, and I'm like, is it like really? Like, wow, okay. I went into this thinking if one person reads it and likes it, then that's it. I've achieved my goal. Somebody liked it.
Yeah.
And it's now got over 100 reviews on Amazon.
Brilliant.
So I was like,
brilliant.
Oh my gosh. So
your hard work's paying off, Emma. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, financially, I think the financial bit takes time. It definitely does. But you know, when you get like a little like a good amount of income on your royalties, then it kind of gives you a bit of a boost. But they're very up and down, you know. And I would say to anyone, if you're going into writing with the intention to make like loads of money, maybe rethink it, because if money's your main objective here, unless you can probably fork out a lot of money on marketing, specialist marketers and editors and all that jazz, then be prepared to, you know, find it a little bit up and down, especially if you're an indie writer. Maybe for published authors it's different because you're with a publishing house, but I've heard both good experiences and not so good experiences from the world of publishing. So yeah, I mean, I'm an indie author because I'm self-published, but I like the control element there as well. But I'm not adverse to a publishing house approaching me or sending in work to a publishing house. But at the moment, I'm quite okay with the system as it is. I mean, I believe in if it isn't broken, don't fix it. That sort of analogy.
Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. You know, you're talking about obviously working and you're bonding really well with Morticia and Tasha. So how do you do that? You're all constant Zoom calls? Is that how you do it, and you swap ideas and write things down? I'm guessing that's how you do it. Is that right?
Well, with Morticia, it's all on the phone. So I'm very fortunate. The mobile phone company I have here in Spain, I get unlimited free call minutes to England, so I can be on the phone for hours and it doesn't cost me a penny. And with Tasha, actually, it's all through WhatsApp, and it's very different how we communicate with each other. So she'll send me like sound bites of the story that she's written so far, so I'll tune in and I'll listen. Or she'll send me screenshots of the screen and she'll be like, what do you think of this? And I'm like, I love it. It's great. And then I'll say like, because she's got her main protagonist character and I've got mine, and we've brought them together to put them through this incredible journey. So I'm like the puppet master of my protagonist character and she's hers, and you know, we kind of bounce ideas around of like, oh, what would your character be like if she was in this situation, and you know, vice versa. So we've got some incredible hilarious moments in there. And I mean, she has warned me that there's a hysterical scene coming up, so I'm going to be conscious not to be sipping a cup of tea or something as I'm reading it, because I don't really want to spray the equipment with like tea when I'm reading it and I'm burst out laughing.
Just, you mentioned about
Yeah.
being published independently, and being a prolific writer in your own right. Would you still be open if a traditional publishing company got in touch and said, "Hiya, we'd like to take over"?
Yeah, definitely. And I think you have to see what's on the table and what someone's prepared to offer, and the direction they would like to take your book in. Because I don't believe it's one size fits all. Publishing house, they have all these different deals and authors and this, that, and the next thing. So no, I'd definitely be open to chatting with publishing houses. If someone from a publishing house read one of the stories I've written or one of the collaborations and said, absolutely fallen in love with this book, like we want to publish you. Obviously, if it was a collaborative project, I'd have to talk to Tasha or Morticia. But if it was myself, I'd be like, yeah, sure, absolutely, 110% open to a conversation. And like, what did you like about the book? And I mean, that would just be insane, having that feedback, that someone from a publishing house has read it and been like, wow, that just is really good. We want to publish it for you. So
okay,
yeah, that is the dream, I suppose. But yeah, if Netflix is also listening, lots of people have said to me that they want to see Pig Club on the telly, and that's quite a jarring thing as well, because when they're reading the books, they keep saying to me like, oh, would you ever put it on the television? I'm like, well, if opportunity presented itself, I suppose it would be nice to see it, on the screen from here to there. But from what I've also found out from that side of things, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes as well. Like I look at films very differently, and television and all that goes into that. And books, how many people pick up a book and they look at the inside page of, who edited it, who formatted it.
True.
I never did as a reader before I went into the world of writing. I just used to be like, oh, this sounds nice on the back, and start reading, very little thought to the amount of work that goes into it. So I do stress to readers out there, like, please, if you really, really like the book that you read, please go and write a review for the writer, because they really matter, and they really, really appreciate it. 110%, definitely. So yeah.
100% agree with you there, Emma. Great point.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely. Talking about Twitter and Facebook and social media, I see you every day posting, regularly on Twitter and Facebook, and it's good that you do that. It raises your profile. What's your favorite one, or you find works best for you? And do you also do TikTok and Instagram? Because I don't. Well, I do now do Instagram, but I didn't until recently, so I don't know if you're on there or not.
Well, I dabbled with TikTok, but there's a lot of controversy about it. I think from a security standpoint, I thought when your own government and other officiated bodies have been like, this is not safe, it's like, I think I'll knock that on the head for now. Instagram, it sort of dribs and drabs, and it's more for sort of like just connecting to friends and family, really, and other authors out there. And then I would say Twitter, I get the most response from other authors and writers, and I've actually been put in touch with a lot of authors and writers from Twitter's point of view. And there's for anyone who's trying to advertise books, if you use the hashtag shameless self promo and then the day of the week, so today it'd be shameless self promo Friday, if you put that in the search bar in Twitter and you click latest, it comes up with posts that other authors have posted, inviting you to post your links to your own books. And so I spend quite a lot of time like posting these posts, and then I've written a template out myself to invite authors to do the same on my Twitter account. And that also can increase your following, and you get genuine followers then of, writers, authors, readers. I think it just helps to like get your book titles out there and recognized, because the more people post, the more, the same sort of book covers and things, it does catch your eye. And I have actually bought a couple of science fiction books recently that I've seen that have caught my eye on the post. I'm like, oh, that looks good. And I've read the synopsis and I've been like, I'm so adding that to my Kindle of my ever growing to be read list.
Okay.
Yeah, there's something to be said for getting the right type of follower, because I've recently picked up a load of followers on my Twitter that are just nothing to do with books and nothing to do with anything in particular. And there could be some really random subject that they follow that's nothing to do with me. Why they've suddenly started following me, I have no idea. But all right, it's a follower, so it's great. But it's not really conducive to what you want to do, is particularly you as an author, because you want more authors, you want people like that and readers to follow you, don't you? Not just random ones. Yeah.
And it's annoying when you get the spammers or the people with the fake celebrity accounts. That's just so annoying, because I just think, just go and get a job or like a hobby or something else. It's just
have you had Elon Musk's mother following you at all?
I've just had Elon Musk 3 times and his mum and his brother.
You are a wanted man.
Great, isn't it? That's brilliant, isn't it? You've made quite a few introductions for fantastic guests that we've had on the podcast. Swan Braun springs to mind, and loads of others. But tell us about the latest one you've recommended, Barry, at bigideas.com.
Yeah, big ideas, Barry. Yeah.
Bless her. I mean, she's incredible. She really is. And when you read her profile online, the projects she's been involved in the film industry,
amazing. Yeah,
mind-boggling. And the weirdest thing is, the way we got connected was when we first moved to Spain. My family and I were in a bit of a financial turmoil, to put it mildly. And there's probably a book there for another day. And there was a book offer in this local supermarket. So it's an overseas British supermarket, and they had like a book section. And this guy's books have never been featured on the shelf since. It was really weird. So it basically was like you get 2 books for €5 or 1 book for €3. But his book was 1 book, but it was 2 books in one. So it counted as 1 book. So I got 2 books for €3. And it goes back to that thing of escapism. So I digested those books so quickly. So the author's name is Duncan Faulkner. And these books were The Hostage and The Hijack. They're really good books. Oh my God. Like if you like James Bond or Mission Impossible or anything like that, you're going to love these books. Like I ate them up in the context of reading them. I couldn't put them down. Great escapism as well, with all the chaos going on in my life. And I liked them so much. There was, at the back of the book, there was like an email address. And I just reflected to him, like, thanks so much for writing these books. They took me out of my life and gave me that escapism. So we became connected that way. And he's been really busy recently, so I haven't been able to talk to him for a while, but I got introduced to Barry through him when I was having trouble looking for an editor. And I just literally got money back from a woman who ripped me off big time. And it was money I could ill afford to lose. And I just felt sick. And I was going to absolutely just throw in the towel. I was like crying. It was awful. It was really, really awful. So I had to fight this woman, not physically, but obviously with emails and stuff, saying that you legally are in breach of contract. I need that money back. So I got it back eventually, thank God. And Duncan suggested Barry. And because I'm a mutual friend with Duncan, as is Barry, and he said he never lets a screenplay go because he does screenplays and things. And he's got a bit of a military background, but he's been in the world of film as well. And so I thought, oh my God, she's going to be like really expensive. So I was like holding my breath, like waiting to see how much it would cost. And I'm not kidding you, like the money I got back, she quoted me almost to the penny, like that amount. So I got that money back and then immediately invested it in a 2-hour conversation with Barry. And this was all during COVID. I think it was during lockdown, actually. And she's in Los Angeles. There's like a 9-hour time difference. And for 2 hours, like I was learning from like one of the best people in the film industry, like on the Hollywood side of things. So I was like, okay, put stars in your eyes to one side and really switch on and pay attention, because you're going to need to digest all this. And I was like furiously writing notes like that for 2 hours and being like a sponge and really listening to her. And I've just carried that knowledge forward. So it's just invaluable. That 2 hours with her was just invaluable, and it's stood me in good stead to like get me to where I am now. And I really believe that's why I can turn over these books a lot quicker now, because she reinforced faith in myself with my writing capability. And she said, go back and strip it bare and start from the beginning again, and then write the story that you want to write. And then it was just so much easier. wasn't getting stressed, I wasn't panicking, I was getting out of my own head, and I just literally I wrote Pink Club again, and this was the finished product now that everyone can read and enjoy. So I really have to thank her and Duncan really for putting us in touch, because
Great
without
investment.
her, like I could have just, I was so close to throwing in the towel, because I think there's just so many letdowns you can have until you're like, I've got nothing left. I can't keep doing this because I'm exhausted.
Right,
Thanks,
finally
Emma.
from me, I don't know, we've probably asked you this one before, but what advice do you give to someone who's writing a book for the first time? There's probably a different answer now
write
anyway.
it. Just absolutely just write it. Just, if you've got the end
That's
in
you
mind,
all
it
over,
helps.
isn't it? You just write so quickly.
Just write it, because otherwise, if you go back and you go back and you go back over everything you're writing, like chapter 1, reread it. There's always going to be a million different ways to make it better, and you're going to go nuts in your head. You're going to be like, you're going to start to second guess yourself. You're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to be like, this is horrible. No one's going to like it. So just write it, and it doesn't matter about grammatics or spelling errors or anything, because you can sort that out later. Like literally just get the story out and finish it, and then go back through it with a fine-tooth comb, and then you can start to enrich the story. That's what I'm doing. I'm out of my head now. I don't second guess myself. I'm literally like, that's the story idea, write it, boom, finish, and then go back through it, and then see which bits you want to change, take out, add, tweak. And it sounds easier than it is, but I do appreciate the struggle is real for first time writers. I don't envy you. I have been there, and it's just not a fun place. I think Stephen King put it best when he said writing a book is the worst thing in the world, and I didn't agree with him when I read that. I thought, well, you've done very well for yourself, haven't you? Then I was writing a book, and I was like, you're absolutely on point with that. Yes, you were, Mr. King. I take it all back. Yes, you do know what you're talking about.
Brilliant advice.
Fair enough. No, yeah, it is good advice. Yeah,
Like it,
definitely.
Emma, it looks like your time, as I mentioned, has caught up with us again. But listen, it's been absolutely brilliant to chat with you as ever. And let's keep in touch as we have been.
Thank you so much for inviting me back, and I love chatting with you guys about the books, and I hope it does help writers to believe that they can see it here, they can hold it here, because I mean, like, this is what, book 6 now, and it's my first collaboration. And you guys know from, I think I mentioned it in previous interviews, it was just this idea of this vampire who she's a natural born vampire, so she's only known being a vampire, right? She wasn't turned into one. And there's an accident at work that sees her accidentally blowing up a 1,000-year-old genie. And as punishment for that, she gets turned into a human, and she gets stuck on Earth. So she's got to learn like what it means to be a human. And then she's given this tiny, she's not tiny, she's given this opportunity to set things right, to reset the timeline. But it's not so easy as like just switch a button and it's done. She's got to get these 7 daggers. And then she's introduced to these military men. These are hardcore ex-special forces British military guys. They don't believe in fairies and gnomes and vampires and what the hell. And then they are like thrust through the door of Narnia like, surprise, it's all real and it exists. And it's like, what the actual F is happening? One guy, he has a little bit of an adjustment issue, and he looks like he's about to crack mentally, and Elena, the main protagonist, is like, oh, I hope he's not going to end up in one of those crazy places they put human beings in when their minds go gaga. The human mind's not designed to accept the world of vampires and fairies and all these things. And they meet a god in this book, and the chief guy who was sort of in charge of their group of soldiers when they were in active service. So they've all kind of kept in touch, and they do all these kind of moonlight jobs now they've left the military. There's a scene where he is actually screaming because he's in front of this god, and he's not aware that it's his own voice that's screaming, because he's lost it. He's like,
sounds brilliant. Brilliant read.
They get put through the ringer, and each book will take us through a different country in the world. So the first book goes to Egypt, and that was a lesson of itself. I've never been to Egypt, so I had to do a lot of research. But Morticia, what she doesn't know about Egyptian mythology, again, she's like a walking encyclopedia. She's like Alexa. If I ever have a question for something, I'm like, oh, do you know what this is, or what that is, or like like in Pink Club, I think I mentioned toot sweet in one of the books, and I wasn't sure on the spelling, and I'd spelt it totally wrong, and she proofed it and went, that's not how you spell that. I was like, oh, sorry. Yeah, okay.
That's
Yeah,
definitely working.
I
Then, the
learn. I
collaboration.
learn
Yeah.
while I'm working with her. Yeah.
Let's just say thanks, Emma. Let's keep in touch, and I look forward to our next chat.
Oh, thanks so much, guys. It's been a pleasure, and yeah, I can't wait to see what next is gonna manifest from this writing journey. I'm excited.
Superb.
All right.
Yeah.
But for now, cheers, Emma.
Nice one, Emma.
Thanks, guys.
Speak to you
Take care.
soon.
Bye.
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 Bye.